Is being delusional a legitimate neuroscience brain hack for success, or is it hurting us?
I personally think that, and I'll talk about the science as well, but I personally think that it's a requirement. If you want to achieve the unimaginable, you have to believe in the unimaginable, right? And
Mm,
the unimaginable does feel delusional. And I remember when I first started out, right? Like, I am creator didn't feel true in the beginning. It's like, what? No, and so the things that feel delusional a lot of the time, maybe they're not delusional to someone like you. Me 5 years ago would have thought the things that you're doing were delusional, right? But it just depends on the person. But it's only quote unquote delusional until it works. And I always say I have this kind of mindset of, being delusional really is just living outside of the illusion, which is the reality of the norm.
mhm.
And I personally knew that I wanted to live a reality of the unimaginable, a reality that no one around me that I had ever seen around me was doing. And if in order to believe in that, it did feel delusional. It absolutely felt like what are you doing? That's crazy. And I had people around me tell me that's illogical, that's crazy. Like, how are you going to do that? Like, I'm in my PhD having, neuroscientists be like, you're making the wrong decision. What are you doing? And people in my personal life as well being like, who told you you could do that? And all of those were honestly motivators for me to prove them wrong. But yeah, I think, being delusional was kind of a requirement for me because everything that I wanted was something that I had never seen done before. And then from just kind of like the neuroscience standpoint, right? Like, doubt is a dopamine destroyer. Doubt is a dopamine destroyer. And so if you have doubt in your dreams, I mean,
Mm.
you're not going to have the dopamine to go and motivate you to do the thing that you know you
Oh,
need to do. When I graduated early from my PhD with my master's and moved across the country, I had 30,000 Instagram followers. I had no reason to believe I was going to have almost 2 million now. I just did it. And I was like, I was delusional. And I was like, I'm just going to do this. But it was that delusional level of belief that motivated me to do it. And I actually remember when I was first starting out, I had met someone and this person told me, I know that you're going to make it because of the belief that you have.
mm.
I know now that all of the successful people, when you hear them speak, what do they all have in common? It's the belief that they have in themselves and in their dreams. And I think that sometimes it is delusional because your reality, your current reality isn't reflecting to you what it is that you're going after. And some kind of mindset that I've been, living in recently is like ignore reality, move like it's already yours. And that can seem delusional to a lot of people, but I think it's necessary because if you allow, you know, present setbacks or your present circumstances to deter you
Mm.
or discourage you, then you'll never make it. And so, in those moments where things aren't going your way and maybe you're not getting the results that you want, maybe your videos aren't going viral, like I had all these videos not doing whatever, and I still believed. It was crazy. Like, looking back, I really was delusional. But it's really so important because I think a lot of us have this experience where in the beginning we face just so many challenges. Like, most people don't just immediately pop off into immediate success. So many of us face all of these challenges along the way and have to believe through all of this. And so I think that being delusional absolutely is a pro level brain hack. I mean, it helps you unlock the power of belief, and belief is a biological advantage. I mean,
Mm.
they've shown in studies that it improves performance, boosts confidence, makes you more likely to succeed and get the thing that you want. And then it also boosts dopamine, right? And dopamine motivates you to actually go and do it, right? If I'm sitting here and I don't believe that I'm going to be able to grow my, for example, social media platform, or I don't believe I'm going to be able to write a good book, why would my brain motivate me to go and write
Mhm.
write this book? Why would my
Mm.
brain motivate me to go and do that? It wouldn't. It wants to conserve energy. And if there's no reward, perceived reward or perceived outcome there, my brain is not going to motivate me to go and do it. So, I mean, having that delusional belief of just like, yeah, it's going to work out, it's going to be great. And, really believing in that delusionally, right? Without not needing evidence, because I think at first we don't have evidence. And I think
Mhm.
that's kind of what I mean when I'm talking about being delusional is believing without evidence. And I think a lot of times in the beginning you might not have that evidence, and so it's kind of required.
I write about a lot in my work that self-doubt is the biggest killer of dreams, and you're kind of backing this. I'm curious. It sounds like belief is required in order to become the greatest version and accomplish your dreams. What does neuroscience say when you doubt yourself, when you say negative things, when you say, I'm not sure if this is going to work out, or you doubt it's possible? What is neuroscience saying is happening in your brain and your body when you doubt?
I think there are multiple levels here. I mean, just the first part of doubting yourself. I mean, I just said doubt is a dopamine destroyer. So you're not going to have the dopamine to go and do the things. So you're not going to have the motivation to go and do the things that you need to do. But also, I like to give this analogy of imagine you are walking around just day to day life with somebody next to you
Hmm.
24/7, constantly telling you you can't, constantly telling you, ah, you're not going to do that well, you're going to do a bad job. What would that you'd be constantly braced. You would always be braced because this person is just constantly tearing you down and doubting you. You would always be braced. You would never be able to relax. And so that's kind of what happens in your nervous system as well. You're always kind of braced. That dysregulates you when you're always, I mean, really, it's just negative thoughts in general. If you're always beating yourself up, tearing yourself down, doubting yourself, then you're always going to be in that braced state. I mean, that boosts cortisol, which boosts stress. If you're dysregulated, we haven't touched on this yet, but if you are dysregulated, if you are very stressed, then you're going to see increased activity in the amygdala. And the amygdala
Hmm.
is often associated with fear and really being kind of the fear and stress centers in the brain. And when the amygdala is highly active, it hijacks your perception as well, which I've experienced in my life so many times in my past where maybe I'm really nervous, maybe I'm really stressed, and I walk away from a conversation. I'm like, I said all these things wrong. Like I didn't do well enough. You know, what did I do wrong? I have people around me like, oh no, like you did great.
Sound great. Yeah, yeah.
You did amazing. What are you talking about? And my perception of the situation was literally inaccurate because I was stressed and my amygdala was scanning my reality for potential threats to keep me safe. So if we are constantly doubting ourselves and having this negative mindset or we just are stressed in general, then our amygdala is going to hijack our perception and we're not even going to be able to notice the opportunities or the
Mm.
things that we want or the blessings or the manifestations. We literally, like, the thing that you want could walk in the door, but your brain is filtering for potential things that could go wrong to keep you safe because that's the state that your nervous system is in. And if you're always doubting yourself and you're saying, oh, like, I'm not sure this is going to work out, well your brain is going to filter for reasons why that is true. It's going to filter your reality to confirm that belief. That's confirmation
Yeah.
bias. Your brain is always filtering your reality to confirm the beliefs you already have. And I remember learning that you actually get dopamine too when your brain confirms a belief you hold. And
Even if
so
it's negative.
even if it's negative,
Yeah.
and so your brain reinforces itself for being negative and being believing in the wrong thing. And that's where, when you're like, oh, I knew that was going to happen, like when something goes wrong and you're like, oh, I just feel like, it's not going to work out. And then it doesn't, you actually get a mini dopamine hit from being right, even when it's not really the thing that you want. And so, yeah, I mean, doubt impacts us in so many different ways. I mean, I think we all at times have little moments of self-doubt creep in, but I like to do something called a resiliency plan for those moments and like having that developed before it happens. And this is so many different areas of my life now I have a resiliency plan for, lots of different things. But, for example, I like to do my morning pages every morning. I learned that from the Artist Way. It's very helpful. I'm a huge fan of them. There was one time where it brought up something and it kind of made me feel anxious. And then I kind of stopped doing them for a while because I didn't want to ruin a bad day. I
Yeah,
didn't want
yeah,
to ruin
yeah.
a bad day. I was like, I don't want to feel anxious. Like, I don't want to start my day off like that. But then what I kind of realized and even worked through with my coach was, no, you need to just have a resiliency plan for when those moments do happen. Like, what are you going to do? And I decided I'm just going to move my body. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to go
Hmm.
exercise because that always helps me reset. And so having that plan as well for what am I going to do in moments of doubt? And I actually have a resiliency plan for that. I have my friend, actually, she's still in her PhD. It's where we met, and she has been just my biggest believer, biggest supporter since day one. Like, she was telling me that I would be where I am when I didn't believe that I would be where I am.
Wow.
And she's incredible. She's my sister to me. And in those moments, sometimes when I doubt, like, she's the one that I call because she's the one to smack me in the face and be like, what are you doing? Questioning yourself. And so, knowing what to do and having that plan for what are you going to do when you doubt yourself. Maybe it's affirmations, maybe it's exercise and doing things that make you feel more confident. I have a kind of a collection of things that I
That's
do
cool.
now. Yeah.
You mentioned about your ADHD journey. Did I read that you didn't take any medication when you had ADHD and you like just learned how to rewire your brain?
So I took it in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to my PhD and I studied drug addiction. So I actually did, have this dream of studying drug addiction, preventing relapse, and I actually went and did that.
Oh.
So I was working in a research lab studying drug addiction, working on identifying new ways to treat and prevent relapse. So I was doing exactly what I said I wanted to do, which, yeah, people were like, I don't know. I know I went and did just that, like within, anyway. And so, but with that being said, when I was studying drug addiction, my minor was medical pharmacology because I had to study drugs
Uh-huh.
and how they work in the brain and the nervous system. And I just remember learning about, how they actually work and
Drugs or ADHD?
stimulants, ADHD medication,
Okay.
Adderall, Vyvanse
Uh-huh.
in particular. And when I learned about how they actually work and about, side effects are really actually just off-target effects and they're real effects. They're not side effects.
They're
They're
effects.
effects.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
effects.
They
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. And so
They're
when I
going to happen,
right,
right?
right. And so the goal of any drug, right, is to mitigate off-target effects while still
Yes.
providing, the therapy that they're meant to provide.
How do these ADHD drugs affect the brain?
There are different types, but Adderall in particular, it is a nervous system stimulant. And so it essentially puts you into fight or flight. And
Really?
you're just constantly into fight or flight. And it made
That
sense.
can't be good, can
It,
it?
it can't be, right. And so I mean it's just like a chronic elevated cortisol, norepinephrine, and I mean and they've come out now, and I saw recently a study where they're saying, "Oh, we've figured out that, this medication, it actually doesn't really boost focus, it boosts alertness, wakefulness." And so that's really how they work, is like they make you super alert. And that's why, at least in my experience and the experience of many people that I work with, they don't necessarily help you focus on the thing you need to focus on. They just help you feel super motivated and alert. And whatever you do after that is your choice. And so
Jeez.
medication would hit for me, and I'm on a hours long rabbit hole scrolling like online shopping or
Yeah.
whatever, because it's like whatever you're doing when they hit is whatever you get locked in doing. And so I realized, okay, I still need to develop agency and train my ability to direct my focus, because without that, I mean, the medications weren't helping me necessarily direct it.
Towards something productive, right?
Right.
Empowering.
So when I learned that, though, and I learned how they work and just how they impact the nervous system, and I just made the personal decision to stop.
They're not good for the nervous system
I stopped
or
taking
the
them.
brain.
It's saying not good, I think depends. I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, they're bad, and because they helped me and they were sort of a crutch that allowed me to transition.
A crutch is not a long-term
No, it's not a
strategy.
long-term
And if
strategy.
you get addicted to a crutch long-term, that's not good. Like
So
when you
that's
get off the crutch, it's like how long should they be allowed to be used for until they say, all right, we got to get to the root, not just
right.
be the Band-Aid.
Similar to depression and anxiety, right? You don't want to be on depression medication your entire life, right? You take it for it to be kind of that bridge to allow you to
But
do
how
the
many
inner work.
people do you think actually make the leap off the bridge into deeper healing work from either ADHD or depression medication? How many people actually go deeper and get off of it?
I don't think many people do, but I also don't think it's their fault, because it's not something that doctors tell you to do.
Well, it's not profitable to be off of drugs
Right. So when I was diagnosed with ADHD, it was just like, okay, you have ADHD, here's the medication. No one
forever.
ever told me you should also train your executive function. Now, it takes a simple Google search, now that I know the term.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you search executive function training in ADHD, it's like, yes, people, everyone should be doing it, especially now with social media
Yep.
and like cheap dopamine everywhere, but especially in people with ADHD, it's something that should be done. And so, and then, yeah, I also, studying drug addiction, and on days I wouldn't take the Adderall, I was depressed because my brain became dependent on the dopamine from the medication.
That can't be good.
Right, exactly. And it
So
wasn't good.
then you have to stay on it because now you're
Exactly.
depressed and then you have to take depression medication if you go off of it.
So
It's
I
like,
didn't want to be dependent on this for the rest of my
yeah.
life.
So how did you learn how to not use medication while having ADHD and depressive thoughts?
I actually used my knowledge of just how stimulants work, and I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to stop taking this, I am going to supplement with caffeine for a little bit. So I actually kind of transitioned to using caffeine, and at first it was like, yeah. And I really discovered also that green tea just unlocked a whole new level for
Mm.
me that coffee never did. Like, coffee never really made me feel any sort of way. And I know a lot of people that have ADHD that feel similarly, like coffee just doesn't do it. Like, I would drink like so many shots of espresso, take stimulants, take Adderall, like all together. Like,
Man,
Yeah, I know. No
your
wonder
nervous
why.
system was calm.
No,
No,
no
your
wonder
nervous.
why I was like so stressed, so anxious, so easily triggered.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had like skin issues, I had rashes, I had so many different things going on because of all of that. And so anyway, also, I was addicted to nicotine, which I don't think I had mentioned to you, but it was a big reason why I also wanted to study drug addiction. But what I also realized was
Wow.
that the Adderall and the stimulants, they can kind of increase stereotypic behavior. And that's just like a science term for like compulsive, like repeated behaviors, like stereotype behaviors. I found that that was leading me to hit the vape a lot.
Mm,
And so when I found that when I stopped taking the Adderall, I stopped craving nicotine as much. And so it allowed me to just stop all of it. But what I did was, yeah, I replaced with supplements and green tea. And over time now, I mean, I haven't even really had caffeine today.
mm,
So I now am at this point where I don't even take supplements for focus, but in the beginning I did. So I took a lot of different supplements for focus. I would do like the lion's mane, rhodiola rosea, cordyceps, ginseng, bacopa monnieri, like all ginkgo, all the different things. Like I was on it all. And it helped, and it really did. And it allowed me to continue to train my brain. And I really do think that meditation was huge. You can rely on all the external stuff, but I remember the first time I noticed meditation changing me was I started, I think, the fall of my senior year of undergrad. And then that winter, like 3 months later, I had my first PhD interview. And I was sitting in that interview, and I remember the person asking me a question, and I was able to sit and really think about the question that she had asked me and then respond mindfully. And that might just sound normal to a lot of people, but to me, it wasn't, because the old version of me was super reactive, super like, as soon as you say something, I gotta immediately blurt out a response to get it out of my head. I would be super like interrupt you and all the different things. And I was like, whoa, I just was comfortable in the silence there for a second. And I was actually able to develop a response and really truly respond rather than react to situations. And it's that skill that allows you to create the life that you want. You have to be
mm,
able to respond, because if you're reacting, it's always going to be based on your programming. It's always going to be based on the old version of you. You're never reacting as a new version of you, because like reactions are that kind of immediate impulsive behavior. And so it really is developing that ability to respond that
mm,
allows you to act as a new version of you. And so that was the first time I had noticed meditation changing my mind and my brain. And now I just see it in so many different areas of my life. Like if I don't know where my keys are, I'm able to just pause and literally backtrack and, oh, this is where my keys are. I have two phones because one of them I use to create content. And yesterday I couldn't find the phone. I was like, where's the phone? And I paused, and I remember it was in a bag that I threw it into when I was in my car earlier that day because I didn't want it to be on the seat, people to see in the window. That's where it is. It's in that random bag that's in the hallway over there. And just little things like that I notice now. I'm like, oh wow, like I'm just able to unlock this different level of my mind.
mm.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy this and you want more inspirational content, make sure to click the subscribe button below and click right here to watch what's coming next.